Hello, everyone. This is Linda Ferguson,
and Karen Nelson Bell.
and welcome to another episode of Platinum Prime for Life, your show that is filled with the tips and tricks and hacks that we use in our own life to live a Platinum Prime life. So, this episode is one that she suggested it, and it was so intriguing to me. I want to find out all about this subject. The title is Your Superpowers, Discovering Your Superpowers, the StrengthsFinder Secret After 50. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, that's a great title. It perfectly encapsulates what we're going to talk about.
Good. So let us in.
Linda has a superpower. She's a wonderful reader, and I'm a reader. When my mother was very disappointed that she didn't get to go to college because the war broke out and they didn't have enough money for her to go to college. So she committed to reading a book a day. And I'm not talking about a romance novel. I'm talking about she read books that were invigorating to her intellect. And she read one or two books every day. I can testify that that's what she did. And both my mom and my dad were geniuses. And she basically got a college education by reading. And I became a reader. And when I was real young in the summertime, we'd have a contest at the library. We walk every day to the library and get a bunch of books and see. And I would read like 3-4, it was kids' books, right? I'd read 4 or 5 books in a day to get my badge. So I became a lifelong book reader. And I know that you are too, Linda. And a lot of times when we do these podcasts, it's based on something that you read. And I've been thinking, and I've even mentioned it a few times, I think this is like Linda's book club. I think we are, in a certain way, we're kind of a book club. You know what I mean? Because books give you a jumping point, a starting point to have a discussion with your friends. And so this morning, well, every morning, I read something. I'm trying to nourish mind, body, health, a mind, body, spirit. And so I exercise and I read something that lifts me up and I read something that educates me. And I don't too often read fiction, but I do enjoy fiction very much. But I mostly find myself reading things that lift me up or educate me. And so I spend every morning with a fellow named Eric Worre. Eric Worre is a trainer of people who do network marketing, but I like network marketing and I want to be professional at it. I don't want to just kind of hit and miss play at it. I want to be good at it. And he has a book called Go Pro. In other words, go professional in whatever it is, not just network marketing, but anything that you're doing, be professional at it. So I watch a little 5-minute or 7-minute blurb every morning. And this morning, believe it or not, he went over a book that was so intriguing to me, and he gave the major points of it, that I got the book and I read it. I mean, I just became acquainted with this book this morning and have read it. That is a very small book. It's very small, and it changed his life, and I think it could change people for the better. And so that's why I wanted to I was magnetized to it right off the bat. I was just so intrigued. And so I'm glad that you were also intrigued by the concepts that you could, you and I have heard this quote, but it comes from many sources. I've always heard that what you focus on, you get. Go ahead.
Before we do anything else, what's the name of the book? What's the title of the book?
I'm going to tell you, I was like,
Okay.
I was like creating a little thing there, but.
Oh, good. Okay.
It's called StrengthsFinder 2.0. And it was on the bestseller list for more than 5 years. It's an older book. It's not a new book. It's fairly old. And it has an interactive thing that you can find out what your strengths are. I don't think you or I need to have a helper to find out what our strengths are. I think you just look at the list. There's 34 strengths that he discusses. And you look at the list and you go, oh, that's me. And so you and I have seen this quote, like what you focus on, you get. If you focus on the negative, you get the negative. And if you focus on the positive, you get the positive. And if you focus on becoming stronger, you become stronger. And anyway, it's a nice quote, So I'm focusing on this. I'm going to focus on this book for a while because I think it really is important, because I have friends who don't know they don't value their own strengths. So I'm going to read some ideas. I summarized it. And I'm going to read something, and then you tell me if it's true for you, and everybody can, like, it'll be a jumping point for the discussion. Okay.
Yep.
I didn't hear you. Are you still with me?
Yep, I'm turning my mic off because it's doing a little feedback as we're recording and it's
Oh,
distracting
okay.
me
Okay.
and everyone.
Okay. I thought I lost you there. Okay. So here's what I want to say. The book is based on the idea that people grow most by developing their strengths, not by trying to fix their weaknesses. It encourages readers to identify their top talents, turn them into strengths through practice and focus, and apply them in their careers and relationships. Does that make sense to you? Have you got any samples in your personal life of how that might have worked for you?
Are you asking me now?
Yeah, I'm asking.
Well, let's actually dig into the book a little bit more because I summarized it so that I
Oh,
saw what was there. And
oh, okay.
quite
Okay,
honestly,
go on.
yeah,
So,
quite honestly, the premise behind the book, which I loved, is rather than focusing on your weaknesses, you focus on your strength, and it helps you discern what those are.
that's
So when
exactly right.
Karen said she was so inspired by it, I said, "What the heck is it?" And so I got a summary of the book, and I loved it. So I got why she chose the topic, and I loved what the background of the book was and how the research was that came up with these things that you
All
can
right. Well, let me
testify.
carry on, and I'll carry on for our listeners. Here's the core concept from the book. Every person has a unique combination of strengths, and when you focus on them, you get more productive, more engaged, more fulfilled. You perform better at work and in life. You spend less time struggling with what you're not good at. There's beautiful. So the formula is talent times investment, which means practice, knowledge, and skills, equals a strength. So there's 34 talent themes, and they're grouped into 4 domains. Like the one domain is execution, one is influencing, one is relationship building, and one is strategic thinking. And those are the groups. So it isn't to be strong in all 4, it's to understand and leverage your unique mix, because my strengths, I think that we work well together because we have some similar strengths. Are similar in some ways, but we have different strengths. And I rely on you for your strengths, and I suppose you might turn to me for my strengths.
Sure.
I suppose. So people grow when they most focus on what's right with them, not what's wrong with them. I have friends who do focus on what's wrong with them. In fact, I tell my friend Jeannie all the time. I said, "You can't talk that way about Jeannie. That's my friend. You can't talk about her that way."
That's good.
I won't let her talk bad about herself, because you have to focus on the positive. And self-awareness is the foundation of effectiveness. Self-awareness. It's hard to be self-aware. It's not an easy thing, is it? I mean, it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
So we turn to books to help us be more self-aware. So weaknesses shouldn't be ignored. We're not going to ignore our weaknesses, but they're just managed. They're not over-focused on, because if we only focus on our weaknesses, it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So successful teams are built on diversity of strengths. Ha ha ha. Like if you have a baseball team, you don't have all of them are all good pitchers. That wouldn't make any sense, right? Everybody has to have a team, which we are. You and I both build teams. We have teams that we rely upon. So here's we go. Um, I want to go what over the talents are. I want to just tell you. Okay. The final. Oh, I'm sorry. I want to. We're gonna do the talents in their neighborhoods. They each have a neighborhood. This is about executing. So you could be an achiever. You could be a person who has great satisfaction in being busy and productive. That could be one of your strengths, is that you're an achiever. You could be an arranger. Maybe you organize people. Maybe you organize resources for maximum efficiency. Maybe your belief, maybe just the simple fact that you have a strong belief is a strength of yours. That can be a strength. Consistency. Well, I think consistency might be one of mine. I don't know. I think consistency is probably yours too. I see you being consistent. You don't think so? You don't think you're consistent?
It's not a strength, but when I have consistent friends, it makes me more consistent. So that's definitely, I admire that about you for sure.
So you agree with me that that might be one of my strengths.
Absolutely. It's a huge strength of yours. And it's actually a strength that when it's built up equates to success, consistency. So
Well,
it's a good
okay.
one to have.
Okay, deliberative. That means that you think things through carefully and you anticipate obstacles. That could be a strength. I don't think I'm like that. I don't think that's one of my strengths. Focus. Focus can set goals and follow through with intense concentration. Focus. I think we both have this as a strength. Agreed? Yeah. Agreed. So pat on the back, pat on the back. Oh, responsibility takes ownership, follows through on commitments. Well, that would be a really good one to have, I would say. And restorative enjoys solving problems and fixing what's broken. Linda, I think you have all of these. I think you are just unlimitedly have strengths. I think you have almost all of these things that we're supposed to have and choose from. We're supposed to like choose 4 or 5 things. I think you have all of them that we've mentioned.
Oh,
So
aren't you nice? So just without going through all of the things in the book, because we have a handout for
we
these listeners, right? And
yeah, yeah.
what is that handout all about?
Well, the handout kind of is an overview, and it lists out how you could find what your strengths are and what are. It would be good to know your strengths because now you can focus on that thing and practice it and develop it even more. Do what you love. Do what you like to do. Do what you're good at.
So I'm
I
gonna,
do I do music because I think I'm confident enough to say I'm pretty good at music.
yeah,
Because I've
yeah.
been doing it for so long that I have the confidence to say I'm pretty good at it. And I don't think that that's vanity. I think that's just like looking at yourself and going, yes, I can do that thing. If you're a gymnast and you've been to the Olympics, you know I'm good at gymnastics, you know? So now you focus on that thing and you do what brings you joy. And I've been doing a lot more music lately, and it's really bringing me success and joy and happiness. And instead of posting random stuff about health and wellness and getting old, I'm like doing it from the piano. And it makes me so happy to do it from the piano.
Yeah, centered from the piano and going outward to woo those things. See this little this is my light, my side light. Anyway, yeah, my studio is like very close in. But taking your favorite or your superpower, and in Karen's case, she has many superpowers, but music is what centers her. And music is how I think of Karen. She's so musical, and it's so is a big part of her life. And then from that, she arranges all of the other things she does because music doesn't always pay the bills. It can if you're really lucky, but early on, or much earlier in this lifetime for me, I had a musician husband who loved music but could never figure out a way for it to make enough money. And many, many musicians find themselves there. So Karen, the majority of your life, you've actually had a living that centers around creativeness and music that's paid the bills, along with a few other things that you love to do, being healthy and living longer and living a vibrant, wonderful life that also help in that area. And that's exceptional. Here's what I want to say. So, a couple things about this book and why it's been on the New York Times bestsellers list for so many years And one of the stories I wanted to share is one, this is information that's been compiled over, I don't know, how many years was it? Do you remember?
No, 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 no.
Some really long amount of time by the Gallup organization, back when Gallup polls were the thing. That was, if you really wanted to know something, Gallup would do a study on it and interview a bunch of people and, kind of dig in on it and then publish the findings. So I think before there were less, this is my notes, this is my crunch notes, right? But there were less topics. They've redone the whole study and expanded the areas to include now 34. As a coach, what I found that was really pertinent to this, it's not something, when I looked at it, I said, I'm not really interested in it. Why? Because at this point in my life, I've probably gone over that list many, many times in a different way and isolated which the things for me bring me joy that I want to do and what my goal in life is. So I have pretty good clarity on that. But I was a coach and consultant for many, many years, and I can say that that's definitely an exception to the rule and not the rule for many people. They're still needing to focus on what they're good at and what they love to do instead of focusing on what they're bad at and what's holding them back and the negative things in their life. So I love this book, and Karen's going to tell you why you should probably take this test, but I'm going to say take the test. Just see if you're right about yourself.
I like the fact, I don't know if you remember, but just before you began that paragraph, you went, woo! And woo is the 34th characteristic. Woo, it stands for, I forget what it stands for. Woo, let me see. Maybe I have it in my notes. It stands for winning others over. Winning others over. So when people say, oh, you're too woo-woo, no, no, not really. You're winning others over. Woo! So that's a characteristic of, if you have that, then you should definitely emphasize that. I just think that people should be happy. To be a happy senior, I see seniors becoming less happy in their life. They've accumulated disappointments. They've accumulated failures to accomplish what they dreamed of accomplishing. And it eats away and erodes their quality of life. So to be a full, happy, healthy senior, we want to be happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. It's like it's an old maxim. You're going to help us be wealthy. I'm going to help us be healthy. And we're both going to help everybody be happy and wise. You're going to have to be proactive. You do take some steps to step away from the negativity. Scrutinize your thoughts. Are you indeed focusing on things that you can't do instead of, I heard a quote, Linda, this is a great quote. Don't let what you can't do get in the way of what you can do.
That's a great quote.
Isn't that a great quote? I just love that quoting. I only saw it like a month ago and I thought, I got to live by that. Don't let what you can't do get in the way of what you can do. So scrutinize and examine. This is a time when you're getting older. It is a time for self-reflection and self-awareness. So scrutinize it and take a look and take inventory.
So let's talk about, why does this matter? I mean, for the larger part of our audience, people have lived a life. They may be retired. They may be moving into retirement. Why would going through this checklist and finding out what your superpowers are or what you're good at, why does that matter now? You've already lived most of your life.
Well, how do you want the rest of it to go? Was it good before? Great, that's great. Maybe you're like Linda and me. We both have actually found our passions and found our strengths. I think we're the oddity here. But I have, and you have, I know that. But what if you have lived a life that was somewhat unfulfilled? What if you'd done a job that was just a job and you get the satisfaction of retiring from that job, and then the pension ran out, and now you're like, okay, now you're a reader at Walmart? That is not the way you expected to live the rest of your life. And you want to live the rest of your life not a drain on your family or your friends or the government. Because you can't necessarily count on your family could transition into the other, if it's a family could, if your friends could, my friends did nothing. And I don't know if the government, I think the government will probably still have my Social Security, maybe till I'm 90. I don't know if it will happen until I'm 100. I don't know. So I want to make sure that I build happiness myself. I don't want to rely on, well, will you take care of me when I'm 100?
So you said a word and the key word I think that you said, and why this really matters, is the word transition. So as I said, our audience is primarily, maybe mid 40s on up to whatever. Karen is not the top of our listener group, but what happens, many things happen around this time. So it's not uncommon to be winding up a career, and a career where maybe you've worked there for a while, or maybe you've always been a professional doing a thing, and you're about to not do that anymore. That's transitioning.
That's right.
And suddenly, what defined you earlier in life, mother, secretary, stockbroker, real estate agent, whatever it was that you were doing, maybe you're transitioning into something else now. And the only thing you know about yourself, because you've just lived a freaking lot of life, is what you were, what your titles were, your job titles, and so on.
Yeah.
So this going through and like just sort of pegging it down to what are my strengths? Everybody has a combination of several of these things. So there are 4 buckets. There are multiple descriptions in each bucket. And when you come out the other end of it, when you do this test, you will see where your strengths lie in each of these buckets. And when you combine those things so that they're right for you, for right now, for this moment in your life, there's a feeling of, okay, I have clarity. As Karen was saying, I have clarity on how I define myself, what makes me happy, what gives me joy, what I want to be known as. And you might run across a few of those strengths that you're not so strong in, where you say, and now I want to strengthen these areas that I'm not strong enough in yet to fit my own standards. So it really does matter, and it's not that long of an exercise. Karen read this entire book in a day. Like, I'm impressed. I don't know how big the book is.
It's very small. It's a very just 150 pages, 170 pages, but they're easy pages. They're not dense pages of big long paragraphs. And it's
We'll give you a link to the book if you want to read it.
Yeah.
So now, how did you, when you were looking over everything and you said, oh, that's me, or I really understand that, did you, because I know you pretty much know yourself well, did you have epiphanies even reading the list? Hot seat, hot seat. This is what we're talking about here.
I'm too embarrassed to tell you. I just, Linda, I just found so many of them that I thought were my strengths, that I thought, boy, you are one braggadocious chick. You
Hey, that's good.
you think you're a smarty pants, and you think you're all that in a bag of chips. And I'm too embarrassed to even say. I looked at I was able to identify my flaws. It's like when I look at my horoscope, I'm an Aries, I'm a double Aries. And I look at the Aries benefits, the things that are good about being Aries, because I don't really cotton I mean, I don't follow it. But on the other hand, I am a real good example of Aries, the good things. But what really convinced me was that I'm also a very good example of all the bad things about Aries. So I was also able to identify where I am not so good. And that was like, okay, well, you don't want to focus on what you're not good at. So I'll just shoot those away.
Skim over it. Yeah,
Well, it's a
exactly.
stupid answer. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. That's actually good. When it's right, when you see the right things in front of you and you know those are right, you're telling those things to yourself. Just remember, you're telling those things to yourself, and that is the most important.
So that's
When
why
someone tells those things to you,
well, you
and
made me
it,
tell them to you. You made me tell them to the world. I'm okay telling them to myself. But I'm
you
not
didn't actually say
a,
anything.
amazing.
You just said all the good things. You saw yourself in all the good things, and I'm like, hey,
Well, what
that's
about
good. You
you?
need that to start out with.
So what about you? Same question.
Me, well, one, I didn't do the test. I didn't read the book. I read a summary of it all. And so I will do the handout. How's that?
Okay. That's a good
Yeah.
way to go to that question.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would just be talking out of my,
Yeah.
right there. So not going to go there. But
Oh my
since the point of our show is to help you live a platinum prime life, and that actually means, I actually looked up a word. Um, it's for another project I'm working on, but the word is bougie. Do you know what the word bougie means?
Well, it came from the word bourgeoisie. Bougie came from bourgeoisie. And
Mm,
bourgeoisie is a strata of society that is highfalutin and hoity-toity.
there you go. Hoity-toity is really good. It's someone who's very preoccupied with the finer things, and it's a slang, and you'll hear it a lot. I said that word to my husband, and he said, you better just check definitions because 30 years ago I had someone working for me because that word's been around for a long time, and yes, it has. And she took high offense to it.
What did
It
it
was
mean?
a,
What else does it mean?
well, it can be used in a positive or derogatory fashion. Oh, she just really thinks she's all that and she's so bougie. Anyway, doesn't matter. This is totally off topic because we're talking about living a platinum prime life. But when I say living a platinum prime life, I mean a life that you feel happy about, that you have happiness. And it's not just spread on self happiness, but you're living this. It's called holistic. It just means you're living across most facets of your life and you're at least on top of it. No lives are exactly even, but knowing your strengths, knowing which of those things about yourself you admire in yourself can help you put your best foot forward in living that platinum prime life, because if you're very strong as organizationally and you're in a group setting that needs that strength, that's when you step forward, right? You know you're good at that. And if you're really horrible at showing up on time, don't ever set an appointment with Karen because it's not one of her fun things when people show up really late. I've somehow cured myself of it hanging out with her over time. Like she's like, we start on time, we end on time, and it is time. Okay, I love you. Anyway, but you get the idea. So clarifying what it is that are your strengths and then putting those forward and making sure that you're able to tap into those and not neglect them. If you're totally creative, don't neglect the fact that you are creative. If you're transitioning from work to now having more discretionary time, you know you're creative, tap into it, get stronger there. So that is the whole point of why we do what we do. Why we do what we do is to help you be more you and a more happier you and a more effective you with a very long upscale or bougie survival potential.
Oh, that's
All
beautiful.
right. So any lasting or final words for people today on this subject?
Keep reading. Develop that habit. I think that you'll find even if it's fiction, keep reading. Keep reading. Reading is good for you. Reading are good for you.
I love it. All right, and with that, we are going to wish you a very, very good week. And we will see you again next. Guess what, Karen?
What?
Next Tuesday, I'll be on a plane to Las Vegas.
Wow.
I know. But we'll do it probably Wednesday of next week. It's an on the road. Linda's on the road this week. Karen will not be, I don't think. But anyway, I'll be in Las Vegas next week. But I will see you then.
Bye, everybody.
All right. Bye.